Today, we're cracking open the financial engine of one of the most ambitious projects on the planet, the complete transformation of India. And right at the heart of it all is a single company you've probably never heard of, REC Ltd. Their job? To literally power a nation's dream. So, let's start with a really big question. I mean, think about it. How on earth do you fuel the economic engine for a country with 1.4 billion people? How do you actually finance the future starting right now? We're not just talking about building a few power plants here. This is about funding ambition on a scale that's hard to even wrap your head around. Well, the starting point is this huge national vision called Viksit Bharat, which basically means a developed India. And the entire vision, the whole thing, rests on one core idea: rock-solid infrastructure. We're talking about the roads, the ports, the power grids, the very veins and arteries that keep a country's economy alive and kicking. Okay, so if infrastructure is the foundation, who's writing the checks? Who's footing the bill for this colossal undertaking? It's time to meet the financial backbone of this whole project. And here it is, REC Ltd. It's a government-owned financial company, but don't think of it like your local bank. It's more like a strategic venture capitalist, but for an entire country. They're the ones funding the giant, nation-building stuff, the power plants, the transmission lines, the ports, and all the logistics that connect everything, the real heavy lifting. And this is a really crucial point. REC isn't just a piggy bank. They don't just write a check and walk away. They finance the entire power system, from the power plant all the way to your light switch. But they also provide expert advice. They help state companies design projects that are actually going to work. It's this 1-2 punch that really drives their mission to accelerate growth everywhere, from the biggest megacities to the most remote villages. Right, but let's be real. Building a developed nation in the 21st century isn't just about getting more power. It's about getting cleaner power. And that brings us to the next and maybe the most critical chapter in REC's story: financing India's green future. And this isn't just talk. They've made it official with something called a Green Finance Framework. Now, that might sound like a bunch of corporate jargon, but it's basically a rule book. It's a real financial strategy that says, okay, this pile of money is going only to projects that we've officially stamped as green. And get ready for this, because the numbers behind this strategy are just wild. First up, 52 gigawatts. That's the total renewable energy capacity they've given the green light to. To put that in perspective, that's enough juice to power tens of millions of homes, all with clean energy. And the financial muscle behind that? Over 82,000 crore rupees. That's a huge number. This isn't just a rounding error in a budget. It's a deliberate, massive shift of capital toward making India's energy grid green. But for me, this is the number that really hits home. 6.1 million tons. That's how much CO2 was not pumped into the atmosphere in just 1 year, all thanks to the projects they funded. It shows you the real-world tangible impact of all that financing. And this didn't just happen overnight. This timeline shows just how methodical they've been. In early 2023, they adopt the official policy. A few months later, they assign targets across the whole company. By early 2024, they're already measuring their own carbon footprint. It's a clear, step-by-step march towards accountability. Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? But here's the million-dollar question. Can you actually do all this good stuff, building a nation, going green, and still be financially successful? Let's dig into how REC balances its profits with its purpose. And this chart right here, this is the engine room. Just look at that steady, impressive climb in their earnings per share. This financial strength isn't just about making shareholders happy. It's precisely what gives them the firepower to fund these massive, long-term national projects. Simply put, healthier profits mean they can do more purpose-driven work. And this is where you see that purpose in action. Those profits we just saw on the chart, they get funneled directly into initiatives like these. We're talking about funding degrees for young people, providing thousands of free surgeries, modernizing healthcare, and even building a new waiting lounge at a major hospital. It's all about investing in the country's human potential. But beyond the big projects, it's also about trust. And this statistic is genuinely remarkable. For the 2024-25 fiscal year, they reported zero. That's right, zero customer grievances and zero data breaches. For a government-owned company of this scale, that level of integrity is almost unheard of, and it's a powerful statement about how seriously they take reliability. All right, so they have a clear mission and they're performing well, but what's next? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Because REC doesn't operate in a vacuum, it has to navigate everything the global economy throws at it. This table really sets the scene. While you see modest growth around the world, look at the projections for India, consistently growing at more than double the global rate. For a company like REC, that's not just a nice number. High growth translates directly into soaring demand for everything they finance. More energy, more roads, more ports. Their entire business model is built to ride this wave. So the path ahead is a real balancing act. On one side, you have these massive opportunities. A national goal for 500 gigawatts of renewables by 2030 creates a huge built-in market for them. On the other side, you've got significant risks, the very real threats of climate change, plus the economic headwinds from global trade tensions. Navigating this is their central challenge. And that brings us to our final question, the one that ties this whole thing together. The story of REC Ltd is, in so many ways, the story of modern India's biggest challenge and its greatest opportunity. Can its growth engine, which needs to run more powerfully than ever before, also run cleanly? The answer to that will define not just the future of a company, but the future of an entire nation.